going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode, Quick Picks with the Geek. We're going to call this series is going to be post-fight thoughts. We're going to talk about the fight real quick. I'll make it quick. We'll start from the top card down. Top of the card on down. I'm outside having my morning coffee and my cigarette. So if you hear a car or two ride by, you'll be all right. They'll ride by quick. But right into it. Uh, Aljamain Sterling and Yusuf Zalal. Complete domination. I did not see Aljo having that much success with the wrestling. Also, I thought Zalal would do better on the feet, but it seemed as if initially he was so concerned with the grappling, and then by the third round, he was gassed. He was done by the third round. By that third, and then he did good in the third round. Speaking of Zalal, probably the only round he won, but you could tell he was done after that. The third round was his last little push, and Aljamain showed why he was a former champion. So not bad at all. Not bad at all. Moving on, Jocelyn Edwards and Norma Dumont. I like that this one came through for us. I really do. I thought Jocelyn was a good dog, and like I said, I just one came through for us. What was shocking to me was that Norma Dumont thought that she won the fight. She was upset afterwards, like she had got robbed. I'm here to tell you, there was no robbery here. So sometimes you'll see strikers do with. So sometimes you'll see strikers do with their footwork what wrestlers do with the grappling, right? Sometimes the wrestlers grab a hold and just hold on for dear life, squeeze on you, hold you down, not punch you, not attempt submissions, just hold you there and stall the fight out, right? Sometimes we see strikers do the same thing. MVP, since he's been in the UFC, has been notorious for it. He just starts the fight out with his footwork. He stays out of range, throws 1-2s down the pipe, but he stays out of range, stays away from you, and just moves around, and you can't catch him. And then when you're chasing him, he'll throw a 1-2 every now and then and touch you, but you can't catch him. And he's stalling out the fight with his footwork. Norma Dumont does that sometimes as well. And she didn't do enough to be calling it a robbery. I'm sorry, she didn't do enough. She didn't. So I was happy Jocelyn came through for us. We needed that. Rafa Garcia and Alexander Hernandez was a good fight as well, but Hernandez lost. And I feel like I'm having bad reads on Hernandez fights. When I don't pick him, starts his opponent. When I pick him, he loses. So I feel like I'm having bad reads on the Hernandez fights. Davy Grant and Martinetti. I told you I was worried about this fight. When I watched that fight on Contender Series with Martinetti and Vlogden, and everybody was saying how great of a fight it was. Don't get me wrong, it was a good fight. But it was a terrible fight if we're talking about skill-wise. It was just two guys looking like they were in a Rocky movie and not defending, just punching themselves. If you ever seen any of the Rocky movies, which I'm sure you have, if you haven't, that's insane. Go watch them right now. But if you ever seen any of the Rocky movies, especially in the earlier movies, they don't use head movement, they don't slip, they don't roll, they do nothing. They stand there, they don't even block punches. They stand there and just get punched. Every punch that's thrown in that movie lands. And that's kind of how that fight reminded me of. Everything was just landing. Striking defense, terrible. And neither one of them had a lot of power to land all those strikes and not knock the other one out. So I said to myself, if he does this with Davy Grant's going to touch him, right? If the short guy with short arms can touch him, Davy has the long arms. He's going to touch him, right? But I assume Martinelli was going to touch him back. It'll be a brawl. And I expected his chin to hold up over Davy Grant's chin. Problem was, it wasn't so much a brawl. Martinelli just got pieced up for the most part. And when he did land, it was like soft punches. It was like he wasn't trying to hurt him. It was like he was throwing, don't get me wrong, they were like soft punches, you understand what I'm saying. It just wasn't like he was putting a lot of power into those punches. And even, I think with Dominic Cruz, who said something about it. But maybe it was the lead leg getting ate up and he couldn't sit down on the power or something. I don't know. But yeah, he didn't look good at all to me. And I shouldn't have put him in the parlay. I shouldn't have done that. But it was a risk for sure. But I don't know. I just assumed he would land with a little more power, put Davy Grant on notice. He never really rocked Davy Grant, stunned great Davy Grant, and Davy Grant was just walking through his punches. So unless they give him some easy matchups, I don't see him having a lot of success in the UFC, and neither do I see Vlogden having a lot of success in the UFC. So I don't know. Bad read on that fight. Davy Grant, the vet, shows up and shows out. So moving along. Raoni Barcelos and Montel Jackson. Very happy about this fight. I was high in Raoni. He's been an underdog now 7 times in the UFC. He's come through 5 out of 7. I told you, you gotta sprinkle something on Ronnie as a dog, man. You have to. Montel did good that first round. The second round could have went either way, and in the third round, obviously was Raoni. So I think it was another good decision. I don't think it was a robbery or anything like that. I think it was a solid decision. I was really, really happy that really happy that Rowney won that fight. And then we got Ryan Spain and Marcus Buchecha. Now, the same reads I made on Buchecha, I should have made on another fight on this card. We'll talk about it later. But Marcus Buchecha, I don't think this guy is good. You see it, especially with a lot of these guys who come from jiu-jitsu with all these accolades in jiu-jitsu, right? They come to MMA, and when they first start fighting, they're fighting people who have who've never competed in the combat sports before until MMA, and they're fighting people who are green, or they're fighting people who are just pure strikers that have zero grappling. Where they run through the first 5 or 6 fights, whooping everybody's ass with their grappling, right? The problem is, these guys jump from 5 or 6 fights fighting trash cans on the regional scene to the UFC fighting elite level competition. And on the elite level, you need a little bit more than the grappling. No one fears his hands, so they focus on the grappling. Ryan Spann is not my favorite heavyweight. I think he is not the best heavyweight, and his cardio looks really bad too. His cardio looks really bad. The thing is, so did Buchecha's. It's another thing with these grappling guys. Their cardio seems to be terrible, and their striking seems to be terrible. And if they get in there with somebody who can stop the takedowns, well, now they're fucked the rest of the fight because their striking is terrible and they get tired fast. Ron Gracie is, or is it Ron or Han? Ron Gracie is another example of it. Gilbert Burns' brother is another example of it. These guys are in that. Obviously, Gilbert Burns' brother isn't just a jiu-jitsu guy, but you understand what I'm saying. His strong suit is jiu-jitsu, and if he doesn't get that going, you see what happens. He gets tired. He gets beat up on the feet. So I figured Buchecha was going to lose this fight. A lot of people were telling me I was crazy for choosing Ryan Spann, and I was crazy for choosing Raoni, but they both ended up coming through pretty good for us. So I was definitely happy about that. Now, the same logic I applied to Buchecha, I should have applied to Rodolfo Vera, but I thought Eric McConaughey sucks. So I was like, no, Rodolfo has this in the bag. So, but the same thing you saw with Buchecha, we saw with Rodolfo. Striking, not really good. He clipped him early, lucky punch. Striking, not really good. Couldn't get the grappling going. And after that, what does he do? Stand on the feet and just get pieced up. He has nothing for him. He's tired by the second round. He has nothing left. He can't get takedowns anymore. He's just standing in front of him, taking punches now. And before the fight, like I said, I thought Eric sucks. So I was not going to pick him. After the fight, I still think Eric sucks. And I probably won't pick him in this next fight, depending on who he's fighting. We'll have to see. Jackson McVeigh and Cedric S. Dumas. I told you, Dumas is not a fighter. He's not a fighter. He was waiting for the fight to be over. When he took that little uppercut and he went down, he stopped fighting then. He shelled up and just stopped fighting. And I don't think he was rocked or anything. I think he's not a real fighter. He came to get a check. He saw his way out. Again, didn't fight the choke. Now, this time, he was smart, and he waited to see if he could get choked to tap out, right? But he didn't fight the choke. And not shocking, even when Jackson McVeigh had him up against the cage and was shoulder thrusting him and kneeing him, he wasn't doing anything to get out of that position. So, like I say, Dumas is not a real fighter. I'm happy McVeigh came through for us. I bet everything on McVeigh. I bet everything on McVeigh. I put in 2 parlays, and then I bet every dollar I had on McVeigh. And usually I put in more than 2 parlays, I mix and match. But no, I bet every dollar I had on Jackson McVeigh because I just knew Cedric Dumas is not a real fighter, bro. I'll say that, and I'll say it. If he gets another fight in the UFC, you'll hear me say it again and again and again. I don't think he's a real fighter. So there's that, I wouldn't be surprised if Cedric Dumas was like having a buddy of his place bets on the side and just keeping it real small between them and just saying he's gonna lose the fight, I don't know. Don't trust this guy. Michelle Montague and Myra Bueno Silva. Michelle Montague did good. She looked huge in there, number one. She looked huge. How tall is she? Yeah, she's like 5'9". She looks huge in there up against Bueno Silva. But I don't know. It was a good fight. The pick was Michelle, So it was a good fight. She dominated, but I'm sorry. I think she has a lot of work to do. She has a lot of work to do. So hopefully she can get better on the feet, get better with that striking, and I think she'll be all right. But she did look really good. She looked really good in dominant victory. You kind of figured that was going to happen. She was the pick, so moving along. Phil Ho and Durden. Now, had Durden had a full camp, I probably would have picked Durden in that fight, right? But short notice, on a bad skid, get submitted a lot. You got to, Phil Ho was a huge favorite. You got to pick Phil Ho there. But again, with these jiu-jitsu guys, what we see a lot is what we see with Rodolfo, what we saw with Buchecha. Cardio is terrible, striking is terrible, and if they can't get the takedowns, they look like a deer in headlights on the feet. It wasn't a very good showing for him. I love some Cody Durden, so I was okay with that being wrong. Short notice fight too, I was okay with that being wrong. Francis Marshall, awesome fight. Francis is so good. He's getting so much better. Like, you guys got to go back and watch Francis Marshall's, not the his last fight, but watch the 3 fights before that. Watch the 3 fights before. In every fight you'll see he's getting a little bit better. He's getting a little bit better. And then watch the last one and watch the one we just had last night. Francis Marshall is getting a little bit better with every fight. So it was a good fight. He was also the pick. Lucas Brennan didn't look too good. He looked like if he couldn't get the takedown, he was lost on the feet, kept eating punches. He didn't really land much of his own. So hopefully he can get another fight, go down and hit his own weight class, and maybe he'll have more success there. But Francis Marshall was a tough fight for him in his UFC debut. Tough fight, especially on short notice. So no shame losing there, Max Griffin and Victor Valenzuela. Okay fight. Close fight. And like I told you in my video, Max is a good fighter. He just doesn't win fights. He just doesn't win. And Max is a good fighter. He's okay in the grappling. He's okay with the striking. He has decent power, solid chin. Just doesn't seem to win fights. But it was a good fight, but doesn't seem to win fights. And I don't see, if Victor fights anybody else in the division like that, I worry for him. Because he didn't look great himself. So it was an okay fight. Victor was the pick, so happy that came through. And Julia Pilastri. Julia Pilastri and Talita Alencar. I don't know how I feel about this, guys. So I don't think it was a robbery. We didn't have any robberies last night. There were close fights, so I wouldn't call it a robbery. But that second round, I definitely gave to Julia. And I don't understand how they score these fights sometimes. Because the second round, 4 minutes of the round, Julia was on the feet winning the round. If the round had ended at the 4 minutes, the 4 minute mark, then we would have seen Julia win that round, right? But she gets taken down with like a minute 10 left, takes some elbows to the ribs, some soft ground and pound, nothing too damaging for a minute, and then Talita wins that round. Now, I get it. It was a close round on the feet, so you got to, score the takedown and the strikes on the ground, but I don't think it was anything significant enough, and it wasn't enough control time to win the round. If you've been losing 4 minutes on the feet and you get a takedown the last minute of the round and hold them down, that shouldn't win you the round. It shouldn't. The striking numbers weren't so close until she got the takedown, and then she closed the gap on the striking numbers. So I don't think you should win a round like that. I think, my personal opinion, I think Julia won that round, and she obviously won the last round. So I give the fight to Julia, but like I said, I wouldn't call it a robbery. I still stand by my pick. I think Julia fought her ass off, so it wasn't like she went out there and got just ran through and didn't fight for our money. She fought for our money, so we gotta respect it. It is what it is. But yeah, overall, good night of fights, man. I did okay on the sports books. Not as good as I would have liked to have done, but I came out with a small profit, so profit is profit, and we're gonna try it again this week. I'll have the prediction videos posted it by Monday evening, and then we'll do our better strategy video again, maybe like Thursday, and we'll see if we can get some money this weekend. But as far as yesterday, last night, good fights, man, good fights. You get people, they're like the media grifters, and by that I mean like the media grifters before the movie comes out and they see a trailer, they'll tell you the movie's going to be trash. This is a trash movie, and it's not going to be good. And I'm thinking, how do you know that? You haven't seen the movie yet. Like, give it a chance before you start saying it's going to be a trash movie. We get people like that in MMA who will say, "Oh, this card is mid." How do you know that? You haven't even seen any of the fights yet. What are we talking about? How do you know it's mid? I don't think you know that. I think you're just saying that because there's not a lot of big names on the card. And me personally, I don't determine how good a card is by how many stars you have on the card. We had Johnny Walker and Dominic Reyes on the card, and they got out there and didn't throw any punches for 3 rounds. And we get that all the time with these big name fighters. So I don't mind a card that has less stars on it as long as we have real fighters on it. In this card, outside of Cedricus Dumas, outside of Dumas, we had a card full of real fighters who all showed up to bang it out. And I enjoyed the fights, man. Really good fights. When Raoni Barcelos won, I wasn't sure if he won the fight. I gave him the second round, but I'm biased, right? He's my pick. So I wasn't sure that he won the fight, but I was so happy when he did, I'll tell you that. But it was good fights last night. I enjoyed all the fights. I think it was a really good card. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a stat card and the best card of the year, but it was a really good card with good fights all night, and I enjoyed the card. So that's the post fight thoughts, and we'll start doing this after all the fights, like a little post fight press conference. And what I'm probably going to start doing next week is I'll probably start coming on and doing a live like an hour before the fight so we can talk about, last little betting strategy talks and stuff, and maybe a pick a change. I doubt it, but you never know. And we'll start doing that an hour before the fights. So we're almost 20 minutes in the video. Let's go ahead and end it here, and I'll see you guys next week for the betting strategy video.